Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you're thinking about getting a new car, and you've probably noticed it's a whole new world out there. Especially with all the electric options, it can get a little confusing. Don't worry, that's what we're here for. We're going to make it all super simple. Let's get right into it. Yeah, this is usually the first thing that hits you. BEV, PHEV, HEV. It feels like you're trying to order soup, and you don't know any of the ingredients. Honestly, this alphabet soup is probably one of the biggest reasons people get overwhelmed. But I promise you, it's way easier to understand than it looks. And look, if you're feeling a bit lost, you are definitely not alone. It's a totally normal feeling. So over the next few minutes, we're just going to cut right through all that jargon. My goal is to give you a clear, straightforward guide so you can finally make sense of what's what. Okay, first things first, let's get one really crucial idea straight. We're not talking about whether a car is an SUV or a sedan or a truck. That's just its shape, its body style. Today, we're talking about the powertrain. Think of it like the car's heart. It's the technology that actually makes the car go. And that's where all those crazy acronyms live. So let's start our little tour with the car that most people picture when they hear the words electric car. And that would be the BEV, which stands for Battery Electric Vehicle. This is the one that's all in on electric. The key thing to get about a BEV is that it's 100% electric, all the time. No gas tank, no engine, no oil, none of it. You just drive it, and when the battery gets low, you plug it in to charge it. That's it. It's the simplest concept, really. Just a battery, an electric motor, and zero emissions from a tailpipe, because there is no tailpipe. So, what's the deal with them? Well, the pros are pretty huge. Maintenance is incredibly low. No oil changes, way fewer moving parts to break. You also get that super quiet, smooth, and instant acceleration that EVs are famous for, and of course, zero tailpipe emissions. The flip side, the con, is that you have to have a plan for charging. And for some drivers, that fear of running out of juice on a long road trip, what people call range anxiety, is a very real thing to consider. But what if you're not quite ready to go full electric? Well, that brings us to hybrids. And, this is where most of the confusion really kicks in, because there are two totally different kinds of hybrids that get talked about like they're the same thing. They're not. Okay, this slide right here is so important. On the left, you've got your standard hybrid, an HEV. Think of a classic Toyota Prius. You never, ever plug this car in. The little electric motor is just there to help the gas engine out and get you better mileage. But on the right, that's the plug-in hybrid, the PHEV. And this is a whole different animal. It has a much bigger battery that you do plug in to charge, and it can give you somewhere around 20 to 50 miles of driving on pure electricity before that gas engine even thinks about starting up. So let's just walk through what a day with a PHEV looks like. You get home, you plug it in overnight, just like your phone. The next morning, you can do your commute, run to the store, pick up the kids, all on quiet, cheap electric power. Then, if you need to take a longer trip, the gas engine just automatically and seamlessly kicks on. It becomes a regular hybrid. So you get that EV experience for your daily driving with absolutely zero range anxiety. And it's really no surprise that these are so popular. The standard no plug-in hybrids make up a huge chunk of the market. For a lot of people, they're the perfect first step. You get much better gas mileage, you're producing fewer emissions, but you don't have to change a single habit. You just fill it up at the pump like you always have. Okay, so last but not least, let's talk about the rarest and, for a lot of people, the most futuristic sounding option of them all, the FCEV, or Fuel Cell Electric Vehicle. So here's a cool one. An FCEV is technically an electric car. It uses an electric motor to turn the wheels. But here's the twist. Instead of a giant battery, it has its own little power plant on board. It takes hydrogen gas from a tank, mixes it with oxygen from the air, and that creates electricity on the fly. And the only thing that comes out of the tailpipe? Water, pure water vapor. You fill it up at a hydrogen station in just a few minutes, pretty much just like a gas car. But, and this is a really big but, there's a huge debate around hydrogen. Critics will point to some major challenges with cost and efficiency. A big one is that right now something like 98% of the world's hydrogen is made using natural gas, which is a process that, well, it releases carbon dioxide. So while the car itself is squeaky clean, the fuel it runs on often isn't. Okay, so we know how they all work, but what about the cost over the long haul? The sticker price is one thing, but what you pay to actually own and operate the car day in and day out is a whole other story. This number is pretty eye-opening. A 27% drop in maintenance costs is huge. But why? Well, it's pretty simple. BEVs have way fewer moving parts than a gas or diesel engine. There's no oil to change, no filters, no spark plugs, no belts to replace. Now, full disclosure, this specific data comes from a study on heavy-duty trucks, but the principle is exactly the same for cars. Fewer parts means fewer things to break, and that means lower bills from the mechanic. And here's the data that really spells it out. You can see the pure battery electric vehicle at the bottom is the clear winner. It's the cheapest to maintain per kilometer. Fuel cell vehicles are kind of in the middle, still cheaper than a traditional gas car, but a bit more complex than a BEV. And yeah, these numbers look tiny, but trust me, over the life of a car, that difference adds up to thousands and thousands of dollars in savings. So we've gone through the tech, we've looked at the costs. Now we get to the most important question of all. Which one of these cars actually fits into your life? The absolute best thing you can do is just be really honest with yourself about these questions. If you have a garage or a driveway where you can charge easily overnight, a full BEV is an amazing choice. If you drive less than, say, 40 miles a day, a PHEV could mean you almost never use gas. But if you take road trips all the time or live in an apartment where you can't plug in, maybe a traditional hybrid is still the right call for you. Answering these honestly will point you in the right direction for sure. And hey, since a ton of people are going to be buying used, this little checklist is gold. If you're looking at a full BEV, the battery's health is everything. You have to insist on getting a verified report. For a PHEV, remember, you're buying two power systems in one car, so you need to make sure both the gas engine and the electric parts are in good shape. A little bit of homework here will save you a world of headache later. And all of this leaves us with a really interesting question for the future, right? Right now, we have this whole menu of choices to fit all these different lifestyles. But as batteries get better and cheaper, and public charging gets faster and more widespread, will we even need all these options? Or will the pure, simple, all-electric BEV eventually just become the one obvious choice for pretty much everyone? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me today.